ॐ येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। ॐ ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔच हयवरट लन ञमङणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः। प्रथमः पादः। वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवे वीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः।
That will be our sutra today. Let's hear the preamble again.
ॐ येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। ॐ ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔच हयवरट लन ञमङणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः। प्रथमः पादः। वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवे वीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः।
Didhi Vitam. Mention those two roots specifically. Didhi. Let's take a moment to see if we can find that one. Whitney's roots. D. Did he lists under T. Single syllable aspirated D. Let's see. Root D T. Think that one. So Whitney, page 83. So Whitney's treating it as a reduplicated variant form of the root T, and I know of one derivative of this. Well, we have an extended form Tia also. DHY long a think. So in some way related, but not directed to this root form. And then VV was the other. It'll be toward the end of the alphabet. B. Green. What does your this one doesn't have a VV root. I believe that there are some roots that are mentioned in the grammar but which never occur in the literature and whose meanings are unknown. Oh, we weren't there. We were listening to the recitation here. So when you get here, Levi, let me get the Nagari, and if you'll transliterate for us. One, Didhi Vivirtam was 6. Doing 117. Halo Nantaras Sanyogaha is a definition. Sanskrit Devanagari. Hello is the derived O. It's not the original form of the ending. And then avagraha is like an apostrophe, signals deletion of an a. Nantaraha. Type capital H for visarga. Hello Nantaras Sanyogaha. Hello Nantaras Sanyogaha. There we go. 117, I believe. Okay, in the meantime, let's do a bit of Norwegian.
Kvinnens brød.
Kvinnens is definite. The woman's bread.
De bruker kokkenes kniver.
De, pronoun, pronoun. They bruker kokkenes kniver. So it's the cook and then possessive es. They need the cook's knives. They are using bruker, okay. De bruker kokkenes kniver.
De bruker kokkenes kniver.
De bruker kokkenes kniver.
Kanskje det er kvinnens hatt.
Kanskje det er kvinnens hatt. Kanskje det er kvinnens hatt. Maybe. Kanskje. So this seems like can as the first component, the verb. It is possible. Shit, I've looked it up, but I don't recall now. And kvinnens. Ira. Iratsu. Irashaimase. Irashaimase.
Det er mannens bok.
It is the man's.
De leser bøkene sine.
Leser bøkene sine.
De leser bøkene sine.
De leser bøkene sine. The books of their own, I guess. They read their books.
Han spiser med barna sine.
spiser med barna sine. Barna.
Han spiser med barna sine.
Barna sine. The sine agrees with the noun, but it has a different ending. Probably due to belonging to a different noun, inflection class.
En manns bok.
En manns bok.
Det er kvinnens brød.
Det er kvinnens brød. It is the woman's bread. Det er kvinnens brød.
Det er pappas stol.
It is dad's chair.
Stol.
No trust. It's his trust you're sitting in. Det er pappas stol.
De har kvinnens katt.
Det har kvinnens katt. They have the woman's cat. Det har kvinnens katt.
Mannens bok.
Pappas familie kommer fra Norge.
Pappas familie kommer fra Norge. Dad's family comes from Norway. Pappas familie kommer fra Norge.
Pappas familie kommer fra Norge.
Norge.
Jeg har ikke barnets bok.
Have the child's book. Jeg har ikke barnets bok.
Jeg har ikke barnets bok.
Barnets bok.
Gutten legger klærne sine på gulvet.
Legger klærne sine på gulvet. Some words I don't know.
Gulvet.
Floor. Lays his clothes. The gutten is the boy. Boy lays his clothes on the floor. Gutten legger klærne sine på gulvet.
Hun leser mannens brev.
Hun leser mannens brev. She reads the man's letter.
Hvor er mannens bukser?
Where are the man's trousers? Hvor?
Hvor er mannens bukser?
Bukser. Hvor er mannens bukser?
Kyllingenes frokost er frukt.
Lunch.
Frokost.
Breakfast. Okay. The chicken's breakfast is fruit. Kyllingenes frokost er frukt.
Kyllingenes frokost er frukt.
Frokost er frukt. Thank you for the apples. Takk for eplene. KK. Takk is thanks. Maybe it's a noun. And then for eplene, just like ours. As far as phrase order, eplene is plural definite, shown with the ending. And the plural made with umlaut. Oh, I guess it's eple in the singular too. Maybe umlaut spread to the singular?
Kvinnens bøker ligger på bordet.
Kvinnens bøk. Okay, the woman's books lying upon the table. They are there. Kvinnens bøker ligger på bordet.
Kvinnene elsker mennene sine.
The women love their husbands. Kvinnene elsker mennene sine. Kvinne.
Han snakker til edderkoppene sine.
Snakker til edderkoppene sine. Han snakker til edderkoppene sine. Spiders. Snakker talks. Alright.
De bruker kokkenes kniver.
De bruker kokkenes kniver. They're using the cook's knives. There it is. Let's hear the recitation again while I grab my drink.
येनाक्षरमधुना अक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम् ॐ ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔच हयवरट लन ञमङणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवे वीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः
So, welcome back to Language Institute. I'm your VerbAlly. Just did a lesson of Norwegian. We're preparing the path for a study of Sanskrit grammar as well. So this is a really good link. The complete Sutra Partha. Let's see, this one. Let's create a Parnini. What do you call it? Playlist? There we go. Pa for syllable long. Na. Parnini. It's the stem form. Liten.
Pen. En vegg.
En vegg is the one.
Liten.
Liten. Pretty. Pen.
Pen.
Vei.
Elgen et pent dyr.
Pent dyr. So the et is the neuter form of one. That and the t at the end of pent for attractive, showing that the noun is neuter. Do you not like German tia, meaning the same? The moose, mosse, moose, et is a beautiful animal. It's a pretty animal.
Vi er fattige.
Fattige. We are.
Fattige.
Yeah, for plural agreement there. Fattige. The ig suffix is what it was like in Germanic. I gives our y suffix in English.
Familien min er ganske spesiell.
Familien min er ganske spesiell. My family, and the noun is definite. And for an initial. Family, the my. Ganske is very or wholly, completely.
Ganske.
Quite is quite special.
Han er veldig spesiell.
It's very special. Han er veldig spesiell.
De gjør noe rart.
Noe. They are doing something rare, I think.
Rart.
Fattiga. Welcome, Levi. They're doing something odd. Let's look. I can't think of any. Yeah. Bit much. Okay. Vad gör vi? It was the word, what are we talking about? Fattig. Bokmål. Fattig or poor with no possessions. Fatøker. Few taking, yeah, we looked this up. Faur in the Icelandic pronunciation. I think the aw has broken into a diphthong, ow. And then this would be töker, I suppose. Fåtöker. Few taker, poor. Maybe taking in the sense of having with oneself, having few possessions. So, in that case, it's not the ig suffix. The dig part reflects a root. It's so stirrup, to my mind, is a really good a clear English example of this phenomenon. The word. It's a term I sort of think of to label something that starts out as a compound, then becomes opaque, an opaque single stem. So the word stirrup, Old English, stieg, climbing, like German steigen, and rab, which was rope, so climbing rope. Perfectly cromulent. We lost the verb stigen along the way in the last millennium. We still have rope, but we no longer associate this rup reduced syllable with that noun unless we happen to know the word history. So, this fattige of Norwegian seems to me to be in that class. No, yeah. So that happens quite a bit when you have that reduced one. Like we saw with the, you remember the Yiddish cognate of Montag? What that is? No, rar.
Hun er ikke slem.
Slim.
Slem.
She's not mean. I think this is cognate with German schlimm. Like severe. Oh, so your question was, I haven't really addressed yet. Do we have a cognate of it? Oh, yes, we have the two, few and take. But not as a compound in English. Suppose we had stuck few and take together and it came out as feudic or something. An English calc stirrup compound. She's not mean.
De har et rart hus.
We have it, one, neuter, rart, with neuter agreement, hus, strange house. Montik, de har, okay. Montik, yeah, it was spelled with the final Hebrew Q, so Yiddish K. Montik, not in the voiced one, but yeah. So the reduction, I'm thinking, of that weak syllable in Yiddish is very pervasive. The vowels will drop if it's an N suffix. But between a T sound and a K sound, you can't just have no vowel, so that minimal E remains.
Fuglen er liten og lett.
Fuglen er liten og lett. What's let? The bird, singular, is small and lightweight.
Lett.
So instead of the fricative T, licht, whatever it was in English, a long T in the spelling of Norwegian.
Du har rare søsken.
Søsken. You have a
Søsken.
sisterkin. Du har rare søsken.
Fattige menn drikker ikke vin.
Men do not drink wine. With ikke, the negation as part of the verb, post-verbal. Drikker ikke, and then object vin, those are the verb phrase. It's not
Ikke.
as a determiner, I don't think. I mean, it could be. But in English, it sounds better to negate the verb phrase with preverbal don't drink wine.
De er veldig fattige.
Very cool. De er veldig fattige. De er.
Vi har en liten bil.
Vi har en liten. Probably all over the Germanic family, this reduction of unaccented syllables, post-tonic, liten. That happens in German, we do it in English. Vi har en liten bil. No need to retype that, we have a small car.
Slemme jenter.
The bil is in the animate noun class, not neuter. Mean girls. Slemme jenter.
Det er en spesiell dag.
Day. The special, of course, from Latin. Ikke. Yeah, one of the few Indo-European negations is a really good observation without N. Only also Greek. Well, there's also prohibitive ones, like ma in Sanskrit. Did you hear the recitation? I found us a new video for Panini. It's got a nice preamble, whose meaning I don't quite know. I can pick out single words in this prayer to the grammarians. I do want to let's finish this lesson and then hear it again and talk about the next sutra. You did hear it. Okay, good.
Det er en spesiell dag.
Day also is in the animate noun class. Special day.
Er de fattige?
Are they, rather? Are they poor? Er de fattige?
Huset er ikke veldig pent.
Huset. The T is silent. It agrees in form, well, more or less got the same consonant as the
Veldig.
agreement marker, but it's a different thing. This is the suffixed definite determiner. Huset er ikke veldig pent. Very pretty.
Jeg liker rare dyr.
Like strange animals. Jeg liker rare dyr. Norwegian. Welcome, if it's your first time. Yeah, my goal here with this project is to learn them all. I've just realized there's 40 courses that we're doing here, piece by piece, and we've recently started talking about Sanskrit a bit on this channel. What are you most interested in?
Dere har slemme barn.
Dere har, you.
Dere.
I think of a polite word. Har slemme barn. You have mean children. Thank you. Dere har slemme barn.
De har et rart hus.
De har et rart, strange house. So, Levi, can you transliterate for us, please? Today's sutra. And I want to talk about 2 words in that opening prayer there. Not a religious prayer. Please don't be frightened. Not trying to convert anyone to any religion, but it is the Sanskrit grammar is part of the Hindu cultural tradition, and it's common to have introductory preambles and recitations like that like are chanted. The whole work actually is recited as a chant.
Oh.
What this is the supreme grammatical work in the Sanskrit tradition.
येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः.
Word namaha, I want to mention that. We have it in namaste. Namaha. So it means like reverence, prostration, basically, to bowing before someone. So the act of doing it, or the feeling that is involved with numbness, from a verbal root numb, to bend, basically. I think. Let's see. What did Whitney say? Root numb. To bend or to bow. There is a cognate of this root, or a fellow derivative of this root later on in this prana. Wait, did we hear it? Pranatosmi munitrayam. At the very last bit there.
तमस् वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्.
Verbal phrase here in the last line. Pranatosmi munitrayam. Yeah, the munitrayam is apart from that. Pranatosmi. With a nice sound change illustrated there. Pra, na. To add a vowel there. Pra. You can either add it with an A or delete your way to the plain syllable. Pra, na, with a retroflex. To, avagraha, smi. So that's a participle from pra, the verbal prefix, and this root num in the 0 grade. Bent, prostrated before someone. Pranato, so that stands for pra, na, ta, ha. Is the piece by piece breakdown. The root na in the middle position, it becomes a retroflex due to the influence of the r that precedes. And this is a to participle like we have in Latin too. Pranato, and asmi is I am. And Levi, can you put into Roman letters the sutra for today, which is Halo Nantaras Sanyogaha. Plop it down. If your hands are free. If you are otherwise engaged, then that is fine. Oh! Levi has been saying something. Can you explain the Om symbol? Is it... not that. I think the standard spelling of that sequence, the O diphthong, and then nasalized, would be like this. Maybe this one, actually. Is it too much? Yeah, it's both of them. How does the symbol appear? Chandrabindu. What was your derived term from Chandrabindu? Name for an accent. It doesn't quite... they kind of clash here, but it's the short diphthong, which we transliterate with O, but what it stands for is u. Short and a w. Om. So Om is felt to be 3 letters. A-U-M. But when a consonant is there in the coda, that diphthong will become... the underlying diphthong will sound as a single vowel O. But it always represents O. Halidan... not quite. It's not halid. It does start with hal. I neglected to see that you'd already entered that. And not sanyi, a different vowel in syllable 2 there. Nantaraha is exactly right, though. Hello, Nantara. Let me, since that is awfully small in the chat there. Hello. Oops. I did say it before, but here it is nice and big for the eyes. And this S symbol is the apostrophe called avagraha. It's scrolled up, yeah, good. Vietnamese uses Chandra Egu, that was it, and Chandra Gra, thank you. So, with this now clearly visible, Hello Nantaraha. Leave that up and go back to Norwegian, shall we? You're a Spanish speaker trying to learn Portuguese, a beautiful language. I salute you. Are you using it Duolingo and or other things too? Let's talk some about the differences between Spanish and Portuguese. Present one, almost there.
Nós dormimos.
The spelling is just like Spanish, but us
Dormimos.
final syllable. And how does the R sound?
Nós dormimos.
Here it's a r, a trill. We sleep.
Pagamos os tomates.
Pagamos os tomates. So I think the here is nasalized in the second syllable. Pagamos.
Pagamos os tomates.
So even though
Pagamos.
here is in the onset, it still has nasalizing influence. Very powerful. Pagamos. We pay for, but here transitive verb. Us is in Latin illos, los in Spanish. And the tomachi, because the e sound has raised to e, that influences
Tomates.
to ch, mutates it. Okay, for the tomatoes.
Tu lês?
Yes, do you read? Tu les, gotta be that middle one for a tu subject, just like Spanish. And I think circumflex, the umbrella-shaped accent, shows it's really a high tone followed by a low tone underlying, like two A's in sequence fused into one, but the tonal motion is still there. Lees.
Os meninos escrevem.
Escreve. Os meninos escreve. The boys write. So Portuguese likes to write a final M. It's really quite like you have in Sanskrit. It's not a true M. It just shows that it's a nasalized vowel, not particular as to place. Escreve.
Os meninos escrevem.
Escreve. So with the nasal there, it protects it from the raising, it seems like. In meninos, we have the raising.
Os meninos escrevem.
Escreve.
Eu mostro minha camisa roxa.
So like French, Portuguese, this variety of Portuguese uses nasalized vowels to distinguish sounds.
Eu mostro minha camisa roxa.
Roxa. The initial R would have been a r, I guess, at some stage, but then devoicing h and x for a sh in this word.
Eu mostro minha camisa roxa.
Mostro, mostrar, I believe in Spanish. Show my red shirt. Roxa.
Roxa.
Roxa, with a diphthong. Roxa.
Elas escrevem.
Elas escrevem. And unlike Spanish, but a lot like English to me, is that the accented vowels are really heavy and lengthened. So you have these great inequalities in the durations of stressed syllables versus unstressed ones, where in Spanish everything is kept on an even rhythmic pulse.
Ele parte.
Ele parte. So what I mean is they're both written
Ele parte.
but in the word ele, he, the first syllable is much longer.
Ele.
The second is just added on an afterthought, lightweight. He parte.
Parte.
So, Levi, can you revise the transliteration? Wasn't quite there.
Elas pagam.
Elas.
Elas pagam. Pagam.
Read that with the M for third plural.
O menino dorme com um lobo.
Com lobo. O menino dorme com lobo. The boy sleeps with a wolf. O menino dorme com lobo. Eles pagam.
Eu mostro minha fantasia.
So hear this? Doesn't
Fantasia.
nasalized.
Eu mostro minha fantasia.
Yeah, the E is nasal.
Eu mostro minha fantasia.
Fantasia. And the final a, if it's not accented, will be raised to a schwa sound, which Spanish does not have. Eu mostro minha fantasia. I'm just speaking about the standard form of Spanish that we're taught here in North America. Maybe differs from dialect to dialect. Ele, gotta be the second form, not third plural, but third singular. He shows as suas cartas, his letters.
As meninas escrevem.
There was a difference there with Spanish too. As suas cartas takes 3 words because sua, suo is an adjective in Portuguese. As meninas escrevem. As meninas escrevem. Escrevem. Ele dorme.
Rodrigo parte hoje.
Rodrigo parte hoje. J for a j sound. Unlike Spanish, Spanish doesn't have voiced fricatives, but Portuguese does. J. What else? V.
Rodrigo parte hoje.
Z is there too. Rodrigo leaves today. Rodrigo parte hoje. Okay, I keep asking for something that you've already done. Because I'm not scrolled down. One of the peacock feathers. Okay, 2. E, talking about the vowel symbol, does not go all the way around short O. The O is actually long. It's a short diphthong. There's, like I said, there's short O-A, A-O in the other way around. I did them unalphabetically. But here in the Shiva Sutras, they're largely in the alphabetical order, actually, these segments. Anyway, Sutra 3, A-O. Those are the so-called short diphthongs structurally, but phonetically it's a long pure vowel if there's a coda. And
Ayauch, Hayavarat,
Ai Ao, Sutra 4. The one that looks like an 8 is a 4. And I think the 4 figure is just that rotated a few degrees in one direction. Ai Ouch. These are the long diphthongs, and they're always long phonetically too. Las sujas cartas. Oh, can you say that too? Can you say in Spanish las cartas suyas? Or only with like mio and tío? Does this sound good if I say it this way? Cartas, cartas. That's right. So Spanish has both adjectival possessives, Dios mío, with the, I know it there as coming after the noun. But it also has possessive determiners like English does, where you can't have a definite article. Right? We can't say my the boy, my the son. Halo nantaraha is exactly right. Sun yogaha. Good. Yeah. So what do you know the terms? Let's start with the final one. Sun yoga. What parts do you recognize there? What meaningful morphemes? What morphemes there in that word? Let's cut. Oh, that was mine. Is it the case that mio? Is it tio? Tuyo. The possessive adjectives. Where do they go with regard to the noun? Tu lees livros.
Eu mostro minha camisa roxa.
Purple dress, shirt rather. I show my. Oh, look at this. Here, there's no article. Susus amobus. Indeed. Not a language I recognize. Eu mostro, I show. Minha, here it looks like it's a determiner. The plot. thickens. Camisa, my shirt, which is purple. Purple shirple. Yoga from a root meaning to join. Excellent. As in the discipline of yoga. From a root yuj. To join. What does my good buddy Whitney say? For yuj. To yoke, to join is what comes to my mind. Yoke, of course, is join and yoke are both cognates. What would have been the E grade form in Indo-European? Yuj. Yaradawa. To join is all he says. Yunakti in the present. English cognate is yoke. You know. Good. Well informed about this one. So, the change of u in the root yuj to o, that is gurna replacement. And we also see the change of a j to a g, so apparent velarization of a palatal. Historically, of course, I think it's the other way around. But these are very important common alternations in Sanskrit. These sound substitutions that we see on the journey from yuj to yoga, and then the phonetic suffix itself is a. Those other changes are associated with it in the analysis embedded in Paanini's grammar. So my own view is on the JG alternation, as I just said, it starts as a velar, or as the Indo-European soft velar one, and that shifted to a palatal in the history of Indic. But in Paanini's grammar, it's the palatal that is underlying, and the velar is derived from it. 750.
Eles decidem.
Okay. We see again with the nasal consonant at the end of the syllable, at the end, decidem, that keeps the e
Decidem.
raising to e, which in turn protects the d from becoming a j. Decidem, even though it's a weak, unaccented syllable. That's so cool. The coda has protected this
Decidem.
all the way over here. A long distance interaction. They, masculine plural, decide.
Ele termina a capa.
Ele termina a capa. She ends the. Ele, I always say she, it's really he. He ends. What's the capa?
Capa.
Ends the
Termina. Capa.
Yeah, ends the cloak doesn't sound too good to me. So a nice metaphoric transfer, getting to the end of a thing, like a piece of cloth, versus the end of an experience.
O menino termina a refeição. O menino termina a refeição.
Menino, o menino.
O menino termina a refeição. O menino termina a refeição.
Stops eating, I think. Finishes the meal. Okay, so it's the a is the article. The meal, introducing an object.
Eles correm do cachorro.
They run after the dog? Run from it. So the basic preposition of separation is G, spelled D-E. When you have D-A, da, or D-O, do, it's a fusion of the run from the dog, the masculine.
Tu decides.
Tu decides.
Tu.
You decide. Decides.
Tu decides.
S did not protect that suite of changes that we discussed. So the E becomes E.
Decides.
In turn is mutated to a J.
A carta termina com uma pergunta.
Pergunta, see metathesis.
Pergunta.
The letter finishes with a question. A carta termina com uma pergunta. Bam.
Ele não cai do cavalo.
Cai do cavalo. She does not fall from the horse. He. Cae or calle in Spanish, C-A-E, or with a Y. Cae or calle. For falling. Fall from the horse. Cavalo.
Ele não cai do cavalo.
With that fusion, do cavalo. Gracias. Caer. What about cayendo in the participle? Or is it cayendo spelling?
O homem vende seu carro.
O homem vende seu carro. Let's listen for the R in the last word.
O homem vende seu carro.
Carro. Sounds voiced uvular, right? Cayendo, yeah. That kind of thing is very tricky in Spanish when the letter's there, when it's deleted. Conjugation, yeah. As a native speaker, right, it's just second nature. First nature, even. One is not tripping over it. Homie, the man. So this is hombre. What happened there? Hominem was the input. It's the Latin form. So what I'm talking about is the Portuguese word spelled H-O-M-E-M, homie. I would transcribe it like this, roughly. Is cognate with Spanish. Hombre. They look kind of dissimilar until you recall that in Latin, the accusative, the relevant form was hominem. So just lost a syllable there in Latin, I think really the final. And M doesn't really mean closed M, just a weak nasal. Wami. So nasalized vowel. Wami. And the Spanish one, hombre, that came from homnem. Early on the M would have stopped being sounded. But M, the two nasals came into contact. And this one became an R, which happens in Irish now too. An N becoming an R if it's in contact with an M. And the B develops as a transitional sound. Mbre, like in the word number, it was numerus. When M meets R, it's hard not to produce that B on the way. Excrescent is the term. O homem vende, right?
Vende.
Vende. Seu caro. Sells. The man sells. Seu caro. Here without the article too. What's going on? Seu could also be a determiner. Or are there like two kinds of possession? Ele cai. Okay, it's spelled with different vowels here in Portuguese. Here the Latin one was cadere. Cai singular. Caem. Again, the nasal protects it. The Latin verb cadit. The relevant forms are, cadunt. And the infinitive cadere. The short. Yeah, the word case is a derivative of this Latin verb root. Occasion and so on. Ele cai.
Ela mede o menino.
She measures, yeah. She measures the boy.
Ele mede o tubarão.
Tubarão, I've forgotten. Sometimes the nasality is marked with a
Tubarão, tubarão.
tilde. That's not what do you call that one too? The swung dash, the circumflex.
Ele mede o tubarão. Tubarão.
Shark. He measures the shark. Ele mede o tubarão. Ela corre.
Eles vendem livros.
Do they sell books? Eles vendem livros.
Nós medimos suas roupas.
Roupas. We measure his clothes. Nós medimos suas roupas.
Elas vendem livros.
Okay, another difference we see, Portuguese has these diphthongs A, O, and Spanish does not really. You could have maybe as a sequence of vowels, but you have pure vowels O, E, or the diphthongs Ye, We, but not this kind of combination. Something that Brazilian Portuguese shares with American English. Elas vendem livros. Many things. Okay, they will be eles.
Eles decidem.
Yep, decidem. They run from the dog. Eles correm do cachorro.
Eles correm
Correm do
do cachorro.
Maybe take a sojourn over to some Japanese. Aishu. So the first one here is generally sai, with a special reading here. It loses the i. Saraishu means week after next.
再来週は忙しくないです。
It's not. It won't be busy. The week after next won't be busy. I am not busy. 再来週。
再来週。
昨日はたくさんギターを弾きました。
Oh, I had a thought about kodomo. It's written that domo is written with a kanji that's unconnected to this one I'm going to propose is connected to it. Tomodachi. Kodomo means child, I should say. Child, children, and tomodachi means friend. Fiend. Fiend with an R. That's a little confused. Nice. Oh, thank you. It's one of my main interests, my fascinations all throughout life, learning different related languages within families. So I started out with Dutch and German as I was going up through school, learned French and Latin in high school. You know, the more you see in a family, the more common patterns you spot. They're just so fascinating and fun, and I'm here to share all about that stuff. Tomodachi, here's an example. So they're written differently, like I say, but that's not really relevant. It's about the sound and the meaning pairing. The ko means small plus the combining form of tomo, which is ntomo, friend, a known one. That's my take on this kodomo compound word. In Chinese, also in Mandarin, they will say 小朋友, little friend, to mean children. Yeah, what would I do if I woke up one morning no longer interested in languages? Have to construct a new identity, I suppose. Or none. But it's just hard to imagine that taking place. Kino wa yesterday. たくさんギターを弾きました. I play guitar a lot. So, even though Japanese has plenty about it that's difficult, one helpful thing is it gives you these little signposts called particles, telling you what the noun is doing with relation to the verb. The verb is played. Someone played a thing.
ギター
You look for the o, it tells you what was played. Gitao means somebody played a guitar.
たくさん
More loosely connected. Yesterday is not the subject of the verbal action. It's what's called a topic. What the statement's going to be about.
練習
Renshu is practice. And this one is using the Kyujitai kanji. In Japanese, it's normally written a little differently, in my experience. Ren will be, so great resource, qhanza.com. It even saves it, that's so nice. Go to the Nihongo. And we're doing Renshu no Ren desu. Which has a silk radical. So I remember it being like this. For the silk in Japanese, they like to have this little kanji instead of the 3 dots. And then they would write it as east over here. It's not quite that officially. It's a little wobbly. Off center. Yeah, this one. So here's a nice mix. Very nice. Yeah. Practice. What you gotta do? Issho.
一緒
This little sign here tells you that a consonant is being lengthened. Renshu.
練習
Each of the... Okay, we've got the Chinese style writing called kanji. Then these more curved ones, those are phonetic characters. Each one represents a beat of time. Eigakan is a movie theater.
映画館
Saraishu.
再来週
Koen.
公演私の先生はピアノもギターも教えます。
教えます。私の先生はピアノもギターも教えます。Little of the old difficulty. What to do? There we go. 私の先生は As for my teacher, ピアノもギターも piano as well as guitar 教えます teaches. Okay, now it's a mouse issue. I think it's still okay. Good. My teacher 教えます the verb is at the end always. Put it next in English. Teaches. We've got a topic marked one. Then for the object, it's 2 that are marked with a mo, which means both and. And in English we put those first, both piano and guitar. 一緒 together.
一緒
S.
一緒
弾き
弾き
the playing, plucking of a string. 練習
練習
practice. 映画館 movie theater.
映画館
再来週
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 再来週も練習しましょ
Let's study again. Let's study next week after next too. Let's practice the week next after the week after next.
う。日本人の友達に英語を教えます。
日本人の友達に英語を教えます。So it's a 2-step process I'm going to use. Get the kanji first, all in a row, and then add in phonetics.
日本人の友達に英語を教えます。
日 本の it's the sun. We're going to write the name Japan. That's the first part. Hon. Then with the root next. Do a tree and a cross stroke. Now person. 日本人. Then we'll get a no. 友達. It's a K-E. 友達. You'll do phonetically.
日本人の友達に英語を教えます。
英語を教えます. Question about Sutra 5. How do you pronounce the first syllable? 英語. Alright, let me write a partial kanji to remind myself. Sutra 5. Ni. That's a cluster that you won't really see in literary Sanskrit, but it's K followed by velar eng, followed by E. Knitija. And what it stands for, according to the tradition, is G plus K plus eng. So it's a 2-consonant cluster standing for 3 underlying consonants. Totally unnatural. It's just part of the grammatical language that he's using here. The grammarian's language, I mean. This makes it seem like a Tibeto-Burman language or something when you have a kni happening. Where are we? Oh, let's hear it actually. We have a recitation.
प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच् अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च
Little hard to pick out there.
न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके.
After ardha dhatuke, after the end of this word, the next sound will be this syllable that we're after. Kni.
धातुके इति च.
Sounds kind of, I can just hear the ni is all. Ni might be swallowed. Alright, eigo, we're writing the name of English. Go, language, or ish, really. That's the speech radical. And phonetic. U. Eigo, oshiemasu. The teaching kanji is J, K, A on the. Oop, that's not right. J, K, and then N, D, child there. And this O, K figure on the right. And plop that down into. Let's keep it. 日本人の友達に英語を教えます. So these little particles no, ni, and wo help you relate each noun to its role in the sentence. Japanese person pertaining friend unto him or her. English object, I taught it. 日本人の友達に英語を教えます. Very particular about that kanji there. Alright, have it your way. We shall do it.
ピアノとギターを練習します。
Piano to guitar. Oh, this is another way to conjoin. You're not emphasizing the conjoinedness of it. Just piano to and guitar, and then at the end of that conjoined phrase, you get the expected particle, object. 練習します. Compound verb, I practice.
ピアノを練習します。
Object marked with wo, this one. Piano を 練習します。
再来週は忙しくないです。
再来週は忙しくないです。I'm going to word bank this. I am not busy.
再来週も練習しましょう。
再来週も練習しましょう。Let's practice again. Let's practice the week after next too. Yeah.
日本人の友達に英語を教えます。日本人の友達に英語を教えます。
So to answer your question, Levi, how one pronounces the first syllable of Sutra 5 with difficulty. パソコン a nice abbreviation.
パソコン。
The English.
韓国料理は美味しいです。
韓国料理は美味しいです。Korean food, yeah, cuisine. You make a good point, Stool Bakery. Literally a good point. Is good. Oishi is tasty. Is what course name? 6?
何のスポーツが好きですか？
スポーツが好きですか？ So, sports of what? What kind? が I like to think of as the existential marker. It's the thing whose existence we're concerned with. And ski means more like fondness for a thing than a verb of liking. What kind of sports? What sports do you like?
何を作りましたか？
Did you make? 作る the verb of making.
何か作りましょうか？
何か作りましょうか Shall we make something? An indefinite pronoun there. Let's get our kanji. Nani. O-M. We write R next. M and R. Nani o.
何か作りましょうか？
作りましょうか I'll need one more. 作る also O radical. Then it is H and then S for the rest. Nanika. Ka has the position of a noun phrase final particle. So nothing else comes after. It's not nanika o. Nanika tsukuri maしょうか。何か作りましょうか。
何か作りましょうか？
or I. 一緒。
一緒。教え。
公園。
公園。
公園。public park. 作り。making.
作り。
料理。cooking.
料理。
スポーツは好きですか？
教え。
教え。
Where are you? There we go. 作り。
作り。
公園。
公園。
引
き。
King of a string. 料理。
料理。
何の料理を作りましたか？
何の料理を作りましたか What cuisine did you make? Food.
このパソコンは誰のですか？
Whose PC is this? Okay. Okay, the topic first, mark with wa. Kono pasokon wa, as for this PC, dare no desu ka? Whose is it?
料理はあまりしません。
I don't cook much. Point. 料理はあまりしません。あまり is like an adverbial.
あまり、
I know that it has a breakdown.
料理は好きですか？
Do you like cooking? Here I wouldn't say that it means food.
昨日、パソコンを買いました。
I bought a PC. Yes, I did. 昨日、パソコンを買いました。Object mark with that O. In fact, that's the only function this shape has. Kind of neat.
台湾の料理は美味しい。
Any confusion regarding that one? 台湾の料理は美味しい。Taiwanese food or cooking is tasty. It's good. Cuisine is delicious. Also, a good translation.
これは姉のパソコンです。
姉のパソコンです。これは the topic this is my big sister's パソコン PC.
よく料理します。
よく料理します。Assigned number.
新聞、
ピアノ、番号、
It's good class for it. 新聞。
新聞、
We talked about some yoga. We talked about the yoga. The some prefix is like a collective, or it means together with. It's used as a technical term here. Sun yoga. Then what do you make of these words? Hello and with the deleted. Antaraha. Can you recognize anything in those?
「これが私の電話番号です」。
これが As for this thing, subject, 私の電話番号です。This is the one that is my phone number. It's kind of an emphatic use of ga, particularizing.
来週、大丈夫ですか？
Next week, alright? So no topic marked as such. 来週 pause. As for next week, 大丈夫ですか? Is it alright? 大丈夫。
大丈夫？映画館？
番号。
番号？
再来週。
再来週。
After next. 料理。Cooking.
料理？父は新聞を読みません。
My dad doesn't read newspapers. Let's hear that recitation again. Oops. Wrong one.
येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम् ॐ ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔच हयवरट लन ञमगणनम झभय घढधश जबगडदश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैच अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवेवीटाम् हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिकावचनो
公園、
Park. Bango.
番号、
The assigned number. 映画館.
映画館、
Theater. Okay.
大丈夫、教え、
大丈夫です。
大丈夫ですか
Is it okay? 大丈夫ですか? Wrong language. 大丈夫の漢字は all look very similar. I agree. Basic K, of course. You chuckle. Instead of just doing it, Levi, how would you input Joel in CJ? And then how would you do Boo? I find the holistic figures like this instead of the compound characters a little harder to parse.
「大丈夫ですか？彼女の電話番号は何ですか？」
What is her phone number? 彼女の電話番号は何ですか? So struggling to say line 4 completely quickly and smoothly. It is much longer than the others, but other than that, I am good up to hello nantaras. Except nantaras is the sound sanyoga. But we have to talk about the breakdown of this. What does it mean? And line 4. Na dhatu lopa ardha dhatu ke.
हलोऽनन्तरा वृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके.
It's tricky with those aspirates in quick succession. Dhatu lopa ardha dhatu ke. Recommend building it up from the end. Dhatu is that part that means highlight it there, it won't work. Dhatu is the verb root, and the ka is an adjectival suffix. Ke is in a case form here. Locative. Ardha is a derivative of the word for half. Ardha dha, so between the two dhas is where the compound boundary falls. Ardha dhatu ke. I just say that over and over nice and slowly. Ardha dhatu ke. Ardhadhatuke. The two murmured ones here, and then two voiceless. Tuk. Dhatulopa is pretty easy after that. It's just got the one dha. Dhatulopa. Underliningly, it also ends in a, locative, but this is the outcome before an a vowel. Nadhatulopa ardhatuke. And pay attention to the succession of long and short. Nadha, long, tu, lopa, long, short, long, short. Ardhatuke. It continues actually. Ardha, long, ta, short. Ta, tu, long, short. Ke is long. It's a short diphthong, but it's a long sound. Confusingly. Nadhat. So it's got a really steady rhythm. There's no exception in this one. It's always single mora, two mora. Nadhatulo pa'arthadhatuke. Nadhatulo pa'arthadhatuke.
新聞を読みますか
Shimbun wo. Do you read the newspaper? Oh, and on the Nantaras segment there, Anantaraha. That final S is significant. It's part of the ending. Otherwise, what was I going to say? Otherwise, it's a different case form. It's not meaningful. It's got to be clear that there's either the visarga or S to show that case ending. The Jo one will end with K for the X shape. It does, indeed. In fact, it begins and ends with K, right? Yeah, I have to scroll down for it on this one. How about Fu? So that's nice because it shows the two K alternates. The Na shape with the horizontal and also the rotated cross.
Daijoubu desu ka?
Daijoubu desu ka? Dai is one of the basic ones there, K. And Jo, as we just saw, it's a K. So this one has an unfortunate spelling. This upper element counts as a K segment, and so does the lower. So double K for that, for the middle one. And then how about Fu? What is the Sangjia input there? Oh, and then we gotta get phonetic ones. Desu ka? Daijoubu desu ka? Desu ka? So most of the signs of this shape stand for one consonant with one vowel together. Like a married couple. Desu ka?
大丈夫ですか
Breakdown for this starts with all the consonants. Sanyogaha. All the consonants. Yeah. Hal. Aha is the ending. Underlying us. Halaha. This is nominative plural. Fu. Start with J. It does indeed. But you grab this adheres to the grab the biggest chunk rule. You've got that Q as an option, and then what would be the second component? And we're talking about, so far, this would be a Q variant. So there is a curving one too. What's missing is the leg to make it symmetrical. I can go ahead and write it. It'll be this gray one. I wish they weren't all looking the same color. It's going to be that color. There we go. The brighter colored green-ish. I don't know what to call that one.
大丈夫ですか
Por que não?
Por que não?
Por que não?
Can't tell if it's que or que. And I think if it sounds like que, that indicates that porque should be understood as a single word. It should be H. It shouldn't be H, correct. Yeah, it's the opposite there. Recall that when we write Zhu, the entering one, it is written OH. Here we have QO. So most of the variants in the system of the Ren character series are two strokes. You can even have them like that on the right edge of a thing, or just that second one of those two counts as O. It's the only one stroke variant. So it's the symmetrical complement to the downward H. QO. The other one that's QO is the year, right? Oh, that's OQ, the other way around. Yen has the same two in reverse order. Por que não? Why not?
O gato anda sobre a minha saia.
Anda, walking or going,
Anda.
goes. Sobre a minha saia.
O gato anda sobre a minha saia.
Skirt, right?
Saia.
Cat walks.
Falamos sobre livros.
Falamos, is that accented? No. But the A is nasalized, the middle one. Sobre livros. I think it's like that.
Falamos sobre livros.
So in Portuguese still distinguishes b from v, which Spanish has, in the sound at least, ceased to do.
Ele espera atrás da casa.
Atrás. Okay, here the acute accent marks a diphthong. Atrás.
Ele espera atrás da casa.
Atrás da casa. She waits. Behind?
Atrás.
P.
A gata dorme em cima do cachorro.
A gata, a female cat, dorme em cima do cachorro, on the top of. Dog. On the dog.
Eu preciso de livros em inglês.
Need books in English. Eu preciso de livros em inglês. Espera is root of Esperanto. Good to know. Or is it just esperi, esperas? We haven't done an Esperanto in a minute, have we? More recently than others.
Eu falo por você.
I speak for you. Cool. Eu falo por você.
Meu cachorro dorme em cima da minha camisa.
The dog is sleeping on top of my shirt. Meu cachorro dorme em cima da minha camisa.
Ele não fala sobre a carta.
Sobre a carta. He is not talking about the letter. He does not speak about the letter. Oh goodness. I'm glad we're making that distinction.
Vejo gato em cima do carro.
Vejo gato em cima do carro.
Vejo gato em cima do carro.
Em cima do carro. That's video. I
Vejo.
see. Vejo gato em cima do carro.
O cachorro dorme sobre o jornal.
O cachorro dorme sobre o jornal.
Por que você não come fruta?
Don't you eat fruit? Por que você não come fruta?
A gata anda sobre a minha saia.
Walks on my skirt. Over. Walks over my skirt.
Atrás de você.
Behind you. Atrás de você.
O gato dorme em cima do cachorro.
Cat sleeps on the dog. O gato dorme em cima do cachorro.
O gato corre atrás do rato.
Runs after the rat, mouse. The cat runs after the rat. O gato corre atrás do rato.
O homem pede por vinho.
Pede por vinho. He orders wine, asks for wine. O homem pede por vinho. I wonder why it's palatal there. Vinho, as opposed from vinum. Fala is hablar. So habla, fabula, the story which must have verbized. Fabular. Yeah, it doesn't seem classical, does it? I think you are exactly correct. Goodbye. Hablar lost by syncope, that medial u. Portuguese lost even more than that. Fablare, fabulare, listed as vulgar Latin, just means it's not really recorded in the classical authors. They had fabulari, a deponent verb, where the form was passive, as far as the endings there, the meaning was active. Fabulor, chat, converse, doublet of the borrowing. Okay, so Portuguese has it again in the classical shape, fabular. I suppose fabulous, we should mention too, is related to this verb. A lot of uses mentioned here. Dialect, cant, regional language, that makes sense. Deverbative. So, what you see here from fabula to the verb, from a noun like that, to a verb, fabulare, back to a noun to verb to noun, I call renoun. This is the derivational path of this word.
Ele não fala sobre a carta.
Sobre a carta. He doesn't talk. Speak about the letter. Fable, yeah, exactly. That's the. So you can see the nice polished, close to the original spelling pronunciation in fabul. What was the root we had? Fabulous. And fable with the characteristic English shift of the long A sound. Fabulous. So the conservative one is the one on the left. Close in the spelling, it preserves the U. The fact that it's an A though is due to English sound changes. The A to A correspondence. Fab versus fable. We have a rhyming one in tabular and table.
Nós caminhamos para a sua casa.
This means past his house? Oh, your house. We walk to para for the destination. Okay. Para a sua casa. And here we're back to determiner, adjective, plus noun.
Ele mostra o jornal a ela.
Ele mostra o jornal a ela. He shows the newspaper to her.
És bom para ela.
És bom para ela.
O menino dá seu tigre.
Dá seu tigre. With an acute accent there. The boy gives his tiger.
Dá.
From Latin, dat. And this one without the article. His I wonder what the reason is for that.
Eu dou água a ela.
Do is I give, like doy in Spanish. Water to her. Water also with an acute accent.
Nós mostramos os nossos sapatos a eles.
Nossos sapatos a eles. We show our shoes to them. Nós mostramos os nossos sapatos a eles.
Ela dá livro para a menina.
She gives a book to the girl.
Eu vendo o carro a ela.
Sell the car to her. Eu vendo o carro a ela.
Ele mostra o urso a ela.
He shows the bear to her.
Ela paga a ele.
She pays to him. Ela paga a ele.
Ela lê menu para eles.
Para eles. She reads a menu for them. To them. Same thing, really?
Ele dá uma maçã.
Dá uma maçã. She gives an apple. Gives away. Ele dá uma maçã.
Eu pergunto a ele.
So on that one, it's really worn down. Manzana, nice and conservative, preserving 3 syllables, versus maçã, just nasalization on the second, a total of 2 syllables. Eu pergunto a ele.
Eu pergunto a ele.
Even though different
Pergunto.
vowels, same vowel sound to me here.
Pergunto.
I ask him.
Ela lê jornal para você.
Ela lê jornal para você. She reads a newspaper to you. Ela lê jornal para você.
Ela dá chocolate para o menino.
She gives a chocolate to the boy. Ele dá chocolate para o menino. She gives the chocolate to the boy. Ela dá chocolate para o menino. Dá chocolate. Masculine. Dá should be accented. The boy gives his tiger away. Seu tigre. O menino dá seu tigre. She gives a chocolate to the boy. Ela dá chocolate. She is menino related to Nino? Excellent question. Don't know. Good thought. Lose initial syllable sometimes too. The expected palatal nasal survives in Galician menino of uncertain origin. So some suggestions: Latin minimus. That's clever. Gallo-Romance, Catalan mignon, cute. From meo nino, with nino being a borrowing of Old Spanish nino. The alveolar. So remember that the N tilde represents N up top, another N. It's a long N symbol. The alveolar nasal may have arisen due to conflation with Old Portuguese nano from Vulgar Latin ninus. Perhaps a pre-Roman substrate of Iberia. Or from that, perhaps from, okay, just not non-Indo-European, but non-Roman. Proto-European may, small, as in Middle Irish men. Middle Breton men, Welsh min, kid. Proto-Celtic menno. So it seems there is no certainty on it. I suppose it's possible, but not one of the theories listed there. Fascinating. Para o menino. I've got to make sure they're complete. Ela dá Stumped by this one. Chocolate para o menino. Why is tigre palatalized on the first syllable if it is correct? Because it's followed by E. It's the written letter E, vowel E, which doesn't do it on the intonic syllables. No examples come to mind. But what's the word for since? Desde?
Desde a.
Here it is. In a case like desde, I don't know if that occurs without a. It's the fact that it's the letter E. That was a mid-vowel. Mid-vowels didn't do it. It's the phonetic high vowel E that does it. So, excellent question, though. I hadn't thought to pause and wonder that. Chigri. What does that teach us? What's the feeding or bleeding, whatever relationship there between those changes? The E to E change, the vowel raising feeds the palatalizing rule. In a tonic syllable, though, E is not raised, and so it doesn't palatalize. The rule is not applicable. It's the wrong domain.
Eles não tocam em nós.
They don't tocam. Play in us.
Em.
What this is communicating, they do not touch us. Não tocam em nós.
Eles não tocam em nós.
Tocam em nós. So the letter E will palatalize regardless of stress. It would seem so, yeah. Let's see if we find any exceptions there. That would, I believe, be the implication. That is, it'll palatalize a D or a T. I don't think it does it to other sounds. A parallel case in English with opposite order is in panacea, where even though the letter E there has in the modern sound a high vowel E, panacea, that one I think is not correctly pronounced panacea. The raising of the vowel happened historically after the palatalizing of the fricative, like that, the dental. What's a good parallel? Asia is voiced. Do we have one in? Acacia. What ends in Asia? Specifically ACIA. What words end in that sequence? Acacia, thank you. Excellent. The S, Y have fused into a single sound, sh. We say that E in the last syllable has palatalized the consonant before it. Acacia. But in panacea, like I say, even though high vowel which is the trigger for that change. Maybe not. Maybe in English it's the Y, it's the non-vocalic, the consonantal quality of it. Could be a different rule. But kind of a similar phenomenon. Oh, yeah, that's in the chat. That's visible. Get lost with so many windows.
E ela vai.
E ela vai. And she goes. Off she goes.
Ele vai atrás do que é dele.
Ele vai.
Vai.
Atrás.
Ele vai atrás. Ele vai atrás do que é dele. Dele.
O que é dele? Do que é dele.
Ele vai atrás do que é dele.
Dele. What is his? He goes after what is his. What belongs to him. Kind of a mind bender. Let's put that one under the old sentence magnifier. Ele vai, vadet, very faithful to the Latin there actually. Atrás, traz, do, that's a fusion. Que é dele, that's a fusion too. Dele, this is an instructive case too, not Gili, not Dili even, Deli.
Ele vai atrás do que é dele.
So this is a noun phrase starting with o que. It's got a relative clause in it. That which is of him. With this verb there in it. Ele vai. Atrás is a preposition. Well, not really. I think it's actually a noun, but this whole phrase, atrás de, functions as a preposition. I'm going to mark it that way. This dele is prepositional too. Of him. Ele vai, and the meaning is he goes after what belongs to him. This is where the noun phrase begins in English. That which or what belongs to him.
Eu penso em você.
I think of you. I think in you, literally.
Ele olha para você.
Ele olha para você. Olha. That forgets? No.
Olha.
To eyeball, maybe, from the noun eye. Olhar, I assume it would be. That's cool. The H showing palatal quality of the L. Slenderness. Slenderizing H. Ad oculare, from oculus, Latin oculus. Aujar in Spanish, adociare. So, to eye at someone. Oh yeah. He looks toward you, at you. Para você.
Ele olha para você.
Para você.
Como você vai?
Como você vai? How you go. Como você vai?
Nós conversamos e lemos o livro.
And nasalization of the A there. Conversamos, which raises it. E lemos um livro. We converse and read the book. Talk. Read the book.
As meninas falam com ele.
As meninas falam com ele. Girls speak with him.
Os livros falam de animais.
Books talk about animals with no article. The basic preposition here, G. So, the G is telling us that this proclitic preposition was not accented. Os livros falam de animais.
Eles não tocam em insetos.
Do not touch insects. Insetos.
Eles não tocam em insetos.
Loss of the K from that cluster, but the N is preserved.
Eles não tocam em insetos.
Insetos, maybe it's just nasalizing the vowel, I suppose. Insetos. So when does Portuguese write N in a coda? Maybe only if an alveolar follows?
Eles conversam.
Okay, nope. This is not
Conversam.
alveolar. Conversam, but it is dental. They talk. Eles conversam. A menina olha, looks para a borboleta at the butterfly.
O gato toca em você.
The cat touches you. O gato toca em você. Em. O elefante olha para a formiga. Looks at the ant.
Eu penso em livros, ela pensa em comida.
I think of books, she thinks of food. Eu penso em livros, ela pensa em comida. Em. Em. The women, as mulheres,
As mulheres.
mulheres, conversam
Conversam
da
da carteira.
Maybe it is something about having the same 3 levels of stress as English. Yep, Portuguese just fits right in the mouth. Levi said, let me not leave the thought hanging. Levi says, but something about pronouncing Portuguese feels very natural to me. Okay, talk about, interesting. We talk. Nós conversamos.
Nós conversamos.
Lemos.
Lemos.
O livro.
Livro.
Oops, skipped one. The women talk about falam. As mulheres. Sounds like this, but written with an E. Falam da carteira. We talk. Nós, accented. Falamos sobre o livro. Nós conversamos okay, I missed one. Conversamos e lemos livro. Conversamos has a coda N, but no alveolar. Right, so it's not alveolar. I think maybe if we said dental, that would cover it. Not alv, but dent. Alv, dent, and the chipmunks. Because the V is labiodental. My hypothesis too. We talk. I'm going to word bank this.
Nós conversamos. Lemos. O livro.
And I guess you would see an N before G, N before C. It wouldn't make sense to put a M there, but that still would stand for alveolar nasal, I believe. Okay, we're getting right up on 2 hours. Let's do an Esperanto and call it a night. Give our poor eyeballs a break. Oh, you know what? Let's just take it back to Norwegian. Okay, moving right along. Doesn't feel like I've done a fourth of a course.
Farlig.
Farlig. So one of the names in my family tree is Gamble, and that's this Norse word gammel, which means old. Again, with the expressing consonant B, the old one. So coming from a nickname. I suppose all ancestors eventually become old.
Gammel.
Gammel with the high tonal upstep. Farlig. So you recognize the German cognate there, Levi.
Farlig.
Sounds like the last name, but I believe that's an Irish name, Farlig.
Dette bordet er kjempetungt.
Kjempetungt. Wow, something tongued. This table is really heavy. Tungt.
Kjempetungt.
Kjempe. So compound. Bordet is neuter, so the T is not part of the adjective. Kjempetungt. Tungt. Kjempetungt. Oh, I've been wrong before. Do we have kjempe? There is a page named Kjempe. Giant, titan, ribgrass, fight struggle. So it's either meaning giant or it means fightingly heavy. How about this tung in Norwegian? Thungus for heavy. That's a good word, meaning heavy. Feels heavy. Tinghus, tunghus. So this is a really instructive pair of Indo-European word forms. These guys right here. You've got accent on the root in this. I don't know what these would be. Just variants would be for this adjective. Tinghus. Tonic accent on the e. And then just oo in syllable 2. Whereas in this form, if the accent is there, tunghus. N stands as the vowel of syllable 1, that's reduced, and you have ew, the diphthong, in syllable 2. Tingus heavy, teziku in tenziku in Slavic. Thungus. Really heavy.
Datteren hans er en snill jente.
Datteren hans er en snill jente. Datteren, his daughter. And it's
Datteren.
marked on the noun.
Hans.
With the possessor following. And Levi says KJ gives a sh sound, exactly right. Which happened also with our shoe cluster in English. Fish comes from that's different. That's an SK thing. But a brightening of a K sound basically, yeah. Is gonna be nice girl. Snill. The only adjective available.
Er hun snill?
Is she nice? Er hun snill?
Han er en farlig mann.
Dangerous man.
Mennene er kjekke.
Mennene er kjekke. Here's another one. It's not a retroflex sh. I would say it's a sh.
Mennene er kjekke.
A little fricative. The men are pretty handsome. It's a nice word. Let's see where it comes from. I think it's going to have a double K at the end of the stem. Oh, kek, and from both of those. That's cool. German kek and Old Norse kvikker, which looks like quick, meaning living. Fast, quick, easy, lively, kind, sweet, nice, fun, funny, brave, attractive. I see. Those two coalesced into a single word with all of those meanings. Kek also from quickwise. From guichwas, alive. The upstep on an unstressed syllable is pretty unique sound. Norse language as well. Norwegian does it this way. I suppose there's a whole plethora of dialect patterns. But as far as the ones as they're taught on Duolingo, it's quite different for Swedish, let alone for Danish. This very high upstep is characteristic of Norse. Maybe Icelandic has it some too.
En bjørn er et farlig dyr.
A bear is a dangerous animal. Note the gender marking. En versus et.
Et farlig.
En bjørn er et farlig dyr. En bjørn.
Det er en kjempestor edderkopp.
That's that same intensifying prefix. Stor meaning
Kjempestor.
big. Edderkopp, spider. It is a huge spider.
Hvem er perfekt?
Is perfect.
Maten smaker perfekt.
The food tastes perfect.
Maten
This is the cognitive meat. It just means food in Norse. Smaker.
smaker
Taste. It smacks. Perfect. This is from Latin.
perfekt. Vi er gamle menn.
Vi er gamle menn. Remember the name Gamble for the old one. Men with umlaut, plural.
Mannen hennes er veldig kjekk.
Mannen hennes, her husband, definite,
Mannen
is very fun or quick. Mannen hennes er veldig kjekk. Sounds a bit like chic also.
Foreldrene mine er gamle.
Parents are old. Foreldrene mine er gamle. Edderkopp. Yeah, I believe the kopp is the head. Edder could be an old Germanic word for spider. Let's find out. From Danish, edderkopp. So, identical in formation to English adderkopp and Old Swedish edderkopp. Let's look at the Danish transliteration or phonetic transcription. Edderkopp. Edderkopp. Now, where are we going? Okay, just forward on this. Atter, Old English, adderkopp. Poison, venom, and kopp, spider. Oh, we have kopp in cobweb. The latter is still to be found in the English word cobweb, another stirrupy compound. Cognate to Dutch edderkop, peevish or ill-natured person, and Danish edderkop. So not the head word. This is an old word, spider. That word kopf comes from Latin, actually. The word for cup, I believe. Drinking vessel, possibly, it says, from late Latin cupa, form of Latin cupa, tub. This has a Sanskrit cognate in cupa, which means well. Kelp, hollow, related to cup. Compare English noggin and mug. Where does the noggin come from? Irish English naggin. Nagin. Okay, Thomas O'Malley and some older dictionaries like Skeats derived from Irish nagin, knagin from knagere, knack. But the Old English, the Oxford English Dictionary argues that Irish nagin and Scottish Gaelic nuggin instead derived from English. Uncertain, but a fun one.
Mine døtre er perfekte.
Daughters are perfect. Mine døtre er perfekte. Han er veldig snill. It's not going to be neuter, it's not going to be plural, because han means he.
Dette gamle huset.
This old house. Dette gamle huset. So, it's got the determiner, and also that suffix.
Huset.
Hvor kjekk er mannen hennes?
Oh, how fun, or whatever, is her husband. Hvor kjekk er mannen hennes? Generous. This table, dette bordet, er kjempetungt.
Dette bordet er
Kjempetungt.
kjempetungt.
Punkt. Okay, not the Swedish quality for the u. You say O'Malley? Yeah, that's just my guess of the anglicization, exactly. And I happen to have handy here, I believe I've pulled this out on the stream before, my dictionary of surnames. Let me look it up by the anglicization. So exists as O apostrophe M-A-L-L-E-Y, M-A-L-L-I-E, and M-A-L-L-Y, all there, and it's listed under just Mally here. O'Malley, descendant of the nobleman from Maud, prince, champion, poet. Very nice, auspicious. O'Malley. Men are handsome.
Mennene er
kjekke.
kjekke.
Because plural. Okay, friends, thank you very much for joining me. See you next time. Have a good night.